And Bo Nix and Sean Payton carved up this Green Bay defense. He's athletic. He's clever. He's deceptive. He doesn't get sacked. Sean Payton has been texting me for 2 years. I got myself a star. The headline here can't just be Packers lose Watson and Micah Parsons. Yeah, it's awful. Jeff Hafley in the last 2 years has faced C.J. Stroud, Goff, Hurts, Matt Stafford. Bo Nix in the last 2 years is the only quarterback Green Bay's defense has faced that's thrown 4 touchdown passes to 4 different wide receivers. So too many people, I said this last week, have just sort of made up their mind on Bo Nix. I think he reminds me of a right-handed Steve Young. He is way, way more athletic than anybody gives him credit for. Dad was a coach, never gets sacked. Never gets sacked. I've said this about Caleb Williams. Doesn't throw many picks. Bo Nix never gets sacked. And since he's been in the NFL, he's 22-9 with more touchdown passes in that span than Matt Stafford. Okay? And Sean Payton, and remember this, Bo Nix is in a division with great defensive coordinators like Jesse Minter and Steve Spagnuolo. So Denver was down 9 in the third quarter, and they needed Bo Nix, the second-year quarterback from Oregon, to be a star. And that's exactly what Bo Nix was. 3 long drives, playmaking, rolling left, rolling right, deceptive, big-time throws up the sideline, great on fourth down. Again, 8 for 12 throwing downfield. That's always been the knock. Well, I didn't throw the ball down the field. Did yesterday against arguably the best defense he's faced all year. I don't know what he needs to do to impress people. I don't know what it is. I mean, a lot of times it's first impressions and his first month in the NFL. And I know he's not the biggest guy, doesn't have the biggest arm. His first month, 5 weeks in the NFL, little choppy. Get over it. He's really, really good. Well, he wouldn't be that good without Sean Payton. Well, Troy Aikman wouldn't have been that good without Jimmy Johnson. Marino maybe not that good without Don Shula. I mean, every great Tom Brady probably wouldn't win all those rings without Belichick early in his career. You got to get over that. The kid is top 5 in wins, top 6 in total touchdowns, and he's 3rd in dropbacks. They're not babysitting. This is not Big Ben early years in the NFL. Whole playbook, motions, sets, 40 throws in a really good.
You know, it's weird because there's so many different ways to unpack this right now. I mean, the Chiefs are going to be in a great spot to draft because not only you're drafted in the first round, but now the second round, third round, fourth round, fifth round, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I know a lot of people are talking about when can Mahomes come back, and everyone's using all different quarterbacks and players as different examples. The reality is you can't compare them. You can't compare Mahomes to anyone. Everyone will be on their own timeline. Someone said, oh, he's a true competitor. He'll be back, you know, fast. He's just like that. And it's like, it has nothing to do with that. Seriously, it has essentially nothing to do. All these guys are trying to do everything they can to come back. It's just, you just don't know how severe the tear is, how the recovery process will go. You're also not rushing Patrick Mahomes back. You are sure that that man is 100% healthy and at his best. He is Patrick Mahomes, okay? He's not some other guy. This is Patrick Mahomes. So you are ensuring that he is complete, because if you come back and you're not fully healthy, you then can you re-injure it, you injure other parts of your body. Like, it's just, you are going to make sure that he is 100% healthy. But the reality is that, you know, Patrick Mahomes hasn't been great these last couple of years. These last few years, he hasn't been the real Patrick Mahomes that we know. And so it's like, now, what does time away look like for him? What does a legitimate severe knee injury look like for him? Don't have that answer. And I don't think anyone can have that answer. We can all have optimism and hope that he comes back stronger than ever. And I certainly believe he's going to make a full recovery. Like, this isn't me saying, oh, he got injured, he'll never be the same. Like, I'm not saying that at all. But things will change for Patrick Mahomes. Things absolutely undeniably change. And especially once you get surgery, I always quote this, and I I just quoted it recently because we were talking about like Joe Burrow and whatnot, and Kelsey with all his surgeries. Like, he has one of the best quotes out there. He's like, I've had 10 surgeries and not a day goes by that I don't feel every single one of them. And I've talked about this as well, that like even if you make a full recovery, you're never truly 100%. But really, at the bare minimum, your body never really feels 100%. Even if you can run just as fast as you were able to, and you're as strong just as you were before, things just different after the game, after practice. A random Wednesday during the off season, your knee just hurts, your shoulder just hurts. Like you just feel it. It just feels different. You wake up in the morning and you're a little bit stiffer. You're like, well, this is weird. And especially you're like, well, my right knee feels different and my left knee, where I didn't have surgery on it, feels perfectly fine. And yet, like, I'm fully recovered. I'm 100% healed. I had surgery years ago. And it's like, it just doesn't quite feel right. You squat down to go play with your kids or whatever, and you like feel it. And you're just like, yep, I know I had surgery on my right knee. I know my left knee didn't. You just feel it. It's just different. And so even that is a trip. I'll be honest. It's a trip. And so it's just all these other things that Patrick Mahomes is going to have to go through now in a way that he never had to. So it's just, I always talk about it. It's just extra nonsense you have to add to your plate. It's just extra nonsense. And so it'll be interesting to see what the Chiefs can do from here. I kind of thinking about, the ultimate silver lining is like, let's say this next season is lost just because, this season is lost, obviously. And let's just say the next season is lost. You could end up having Patrick Mahomes come back in essentially a year and a half and have a stacked roster, because now for the last couple drafts, you've been drafting top in the NFL. So, that's a possibility, but Patrick Mahomes, his mobility was never that of like a Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen. Like, things always looked a little weird, right? The joke is always like, how does this guy look like he's like some old man playing backyard football, but yet he's like such an elite athlete and can make the most insane play you've ever seen? So, like, his mobility was always weird. It was always kind of like, I don't understand, like, how are people not hitting him? How are people not tackling him? And so it's just going to be interesting to see. I think we saw, and I've said this a lot this season because it's just the way I felt. I think we saw a little bit of an example of, I can't think of the word, but we saw a glimpse into the future of what Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Patrick Mahomes look like when they lose a step, when they're just not quite moving at the speed and the strength and the power that we know. And it looks weird. It looks off. It looks uncomfortable. Does this expedite the process now for Patrick Mahomes? Quite possibly, probably. And one of the biggest gifts that you get when you do get injured and get surgery and have to go through physical therapy and all that, and working with high-end surgeons and doctors, you learn more about your body than you ever will. Patrick Mahomes will learn more about his body than he ever has throughout his entire life. You are laid out. You are interacting with people whose their expertise is bodies and meniscuses and ACLs and muscle imbalances, and how your glutes interact with your hamstrings, which then affects your knees, and actually how when you have back tightness, it's your this and that, like, and he's just laying out on the table, spending hours a day, every single day. He's going to understand his body tremendously, and it could be one of the best things that ever happened to him, in that regard. But it's just a tough spot. It's a tough spot for the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes has not been the best quarterback over these last couple of years. Can he get back to that? And now the problem is like, it's just you're getting later in your career. Andy's getting older. Spag's getting older. Like, I assume they're going to still stick around. There's no way that they're going to like, well, Mahomes is injured and it's time. This is a good stopping point. I'm just going to retire now. It's time for me to get off now, and Mahomes will come back and we have a new coaching staff and a new roster. Like, I doubt that will happen. Even if Andy was flirting with it where he's like, all right, you know what? It's time to end this thing. I feel like the Chiefs are like, bro, we're going to pay you a ton of money. Just be here at least for the for the next year that Mahomes is back and healthy, like we're going to give you $100 million of whatever you need. I don't see that necessarily happening, but they are getting older. Patrick Mahomes now, you know, again, depending on when he comes back, like he's going to be older, surgically repaired knee. We'll see. And the biggest thing is that, and this is what Colin was kind of attempting to say. I think he got a little bit distracted talking about Nick Saban and whatnot. Is that, yeah, when you're a DC, when you're elite, when you're able to dominate teams for dominate so long, it's a combination between you being awesome and great, but also everyone else being, you know, left behind, just not good enough. And the Kansas City Chiefs were able to dominate the division, just like the New England Patriots were able to dominate their division. And there was such an imbalance between like the Patriots and the rosters that they were able to build, the quality of play from Tom Brady, the coaching, you know, and it was just such an unevenness. Whereas, and that's what the Kansas City Chiefs were able to do for so long. That is not 100% the case anymore. There was a time when you could look at the Chargers and say you're out-coached, outplayed, out everything. It's not necessarily the case. It's not the case for the Broncos. Who knows? In a couple years, it might not be the case for the Raiders, right? It's not the case with the Rams. It's not. It's like we can go down through all the teams now. It's just not the case. And your quarterback and coach might not be the great, you know, eraser moment where it's just like, it doesn't matter what you have because we always have a coach and a quarterback that can outcoach, outplay you in any moment. And a year or two from this point just might not be the easiest thing, just to automatically guarantee when you were able to do that for essentially the last like 7 years or so. And that's just not quite the case now, and it may never be. And so doesn't mean that they can't win, doesn't mean that they can't be dominant, doesn't mean they can't be awesome, doesn't mean that they can't continue to win Super Bowls and whatnot. It just means that the path is harder. Or again, they have a couple years that are kind of lowells, and Patrick Mahomes, you know, he's not back until next season and whatever it is. And so like this season's a wash and that next season's a wash. And then he comes back and like, you know, the Raiders still don't have things taken care of. Justin Herbert's now banged up because they can't protect him. Bo Nix didn't quite turn into what everybody was expecting. Matthew Stafford is retired. Ton McVay is trying his best to find his next quarterback. You know, Caleb isn't developing at the speed that everybody thought he was going to. The Eagles are in a rebuild now. The 49ers are still trying to figure out what to do with Brock Purdy, like you, and you could still end up in a great situation, right? The Bills being the Bills, the Ravens, and now the Bills and the Ravens, Josh Allen, Lamar, they're older too. They're like, hey buddy, we're in it together. We're all older now. You know, and there could be quarterbacks that just got drafted that nobody, Jackson Dart is now taking over the NFL, and the Giants are amazing. It just becomes unpredictable. It really does. But it's a bummer. Hopefully Patrick Mahomes can come back and make a full recovery. No problems, no complications and whatnot. You know, it's just, it's a weird spot for Kansas City. The reality is that things hadn't looked quite right for a few years now. They were able to make do. They were able to find ways to win. You know, it kind of swept some things under the rug. Patrick Mahomes' own play, just wasn't enough this year. And then it all culminated in an injury and then losing to the Chargers. And quite frankly, before that injury, it's not like he really felt like Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs were going to come back and win this game. He just didn't. And so it was just an unfortunate ending. But for the Chiefs itself, not Mahomes' injury, it was a fitting ending. Like it was an accurate representation of just who they were this season. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes? Do you think this roster needs a complete overhaul? How do you feel about the way they can move forward and just kind of how this season unfolded? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment, whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much.